the person that wants the state minimums, or if they're a younger driver, they're usually a little bit higher of a risk, so you're not likely going to see them in that category where they're competitive. According to Bankrate, the cheapest insurance by age is Nationwide in the #1 spot. They said 16 and 17-year-olds are about $1,100 a year, and then your Geico starts to kick in when you're 18, 19, all the way up to 24, where Nationwide kicks back in at 25, and then it's kind of like a battle back and forth. So you're looking at Geico and Nationwide as two competitors. One of the things that Nationwide does really well is if you're a new driver and you're just starting off where you haven't had a car, they don't have a penalty for those that are just purchasing a vehicle. It has to be done quickly, so there's only a few days that you can have between purchasing the car and starting the insurance, but they're going to give that extra piece where they're not going to surcharge in a lot of those states. There's not an extra cost. Travelers peaked in a little bit. When you're in your 40s, they kind of showed up, and then Nationwide kicked back in and just said, in general, we want to be competitive. Now, that's not to say that you're the perfect fit either way, because you got to remember, this is a profile. Every person has what I call a profile. Your credit plays a factor. For example, with WalletHub, if you have a poor credit score or credit in the world, that's an insurance score, which is a little bit different, but it's pretty close. There's a video if you guys want to watch the actual details of what an insurance score entails that goes into more in depth. But Geico is going to pop up and be very competitive with the credit score. USAA is decent with poor credit, but on my review, when you look at that, it's kind of a 50-50. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But according to this, they are. State Farm is kind of a flat across the board. I would say they're probably the most average company when it comes to credit score. I've done multiple reviews where I've done State Farm versus Allstate, State Farm versus Farmers, State Farm versus... There's a ton of them if you watch this channel. But in most cases, when credit played the factor or DUIs played the factor, State Farm was pretty close. They were sometimes high, sometimes low. So average, I think State Farm would be a good choice. Allstate is decent with poor credit. They actually came in 4th there. And then Kemper, which oddly showed up. Something I haven't researched a whole lot, but I know they're a fairly large company that have been growing. They're in the mix of that. So what prices can you expect? Let's talk about the DUIs. If you have more of a driving while under the influence for the cheapest car insurance, then you're going to be looking at State Farm, which I don't know, maybe, maybe not.